Hello. Today is Wednesday with Wendy. Welcome, welcome. We are talking about a really important topic today. It is about how to live in pure love, pure joy, pure peace. So how do we do this? We talk about wanting it so often, but it's a nice thought, right? I want to just talk to you about how we do it and how we create that in our lives. The other day I heard a quote. I'm going to be using my notes quite a bit today, so I'll be looking down. I don't want to miss anything. Yeah, the other day I heard a quote that really stirred something up inside of me that brought on this desire to talk to you about this topic. That quote is, "Being yourself in a world that is constantly trying to be like everybody else is the hardest battle you'll ever fight." I'm going to read that again. Being yourself in a world that is constantly trying to be like everybody else is the hardest battle you'll ever fight. I don't know if we really understand the depth of how true that statement really is. We have to take a step back and just look at it from a wider perspective, from a wider lens. Because I know that, we tell our kids and we tell ourselves, we want to be unique. Our kids are dressing, uniquely, and they want to be themselves. And we're trying to find out who we are, especially our kids that in their teenage years. And I think that doesn't stop as we grow older. We're always constantly working towards looking for growing and growing inside and really discovering who we really are. So when we look at it in the world of energy, at a perspective of energy, the world we can't see with our physical eyes, the energy world, the world that is invisible to those of us who don't see how deeply connected we truly are to everything and everyone. So that is energy. Energy is something that you feel. It isn't something you see. There are some people who have developed these spiritual gifts they can see the aura, they can see, light around people's bodies with their physical eyes. But not many of us can see energy. It is an invisible world, but we know it's there because we can feel it. So I'm going to say the quote again. Being yourself in a world that is constantly trying to be like everybody else is the hardest battle you'll ever fight. So does that sound differently when you think of yourself as a mirror, as a reflection? Let's just sit with that for a second. When we think about that quote in the energy world, and we're talking about energy, everything and everyone is reflecting. We're a reflection of what we can see. We're reflecting each other. We subconsciously mirror people. And it also works the other way around. Other people are mirroring us. They reflect our behaviors. And that is why I love this quote so much by Gandhi. Be the change you wish to see. Because when we think about energy and how we are reflecting, we're a mirror, we're a reflection of each other. We really can change what we see when we change how we feel inside. And others reflect that back to us. We're experiencing life through the lens of what others perceive us as. In other words, we respond to the expectations of others. And I feel like that's kind of like what we normally see when we're not functioning on a mindful with a mindfulness and presence, that we are responding to the expectations of others, which is that mirror. It is the mirror that energetic mirror that we're responding to. Those expectations dictate how we act and behave based on past experience. So that mirror is not only what we're seeing, feeling, and hearing in the present moment, but what we're also drawing from our memory, from our past memories. And these memories go for generations. When we're talking about energy, thoughts, words, feelings, just because somebody has passed on doesn't mean they're completely dead, right? They're not gone. They're still in our memory. We still have feelings about those memories. And subconsciously, we so often repeat the past through those memories. We don't even know we're doing it. It becomes an unconscious habit and behavior. As we feel into the energy of reflecting the expectations of others, we begin to understand how habits and patterns are formed. And we can see that as we, when we have families, I told a client the other day, I was like, I can see myself saying and thinking the same things that my mom used to say and think to me. And I have to catch myself in those moments that, is this something that serves me and is something that I want to repeat? And it goes the same for our parents. They have repeated their past, and their parents have repeated their past. So these behaviors and habits, and they have been going on for generations. This is a generational, really old, energetic behavior that has been going on for a really long time. And we're also thinking about, what would they want us to do? What would they expect us to do? What do they expect us to behave like? Especially people that have passed on. We kind of think about that more. So this really is the first step to living in pure peace, love, and joy, when we can understand the energetic power of that reflection of past behaviors, past patterns, and how they are formed. So think about how patterns and behaviors are formed. Is it a conscious thing, or normally an unconscious thing that's going on? It's just kind of in the air. We're reflecting a pattern. The most loving thing we can do for ourselves is to be able to take a step back from a challenging circumstance and see that we're reflecting the expectations of who the other person thinks we are or should be. And in those moments, this is the part that's the most loving thing we can do for ourselves, is that we can pause in that moment. we take a step back and recognize the pattern of the behavior. Recognize that we are a reflection of our past behavior, or we are a reflection of the person in front of us. So the first step is to understand we are a reflection of our reality. And second is to pause. That's the second thing we can do. Pause and acknowledge that something is about to happen, something that we remember. Something is about to happen, or a repeat of the past. Something maybe that we want to change. So if we're seeing something coming up in our lives, that like in a hard conversation with our kids, and we've felt this way before, we felt that trigger before, and we felt them feel triggered before. We recognize it. We understand that we are in this moment where we are reflecting each other's emotions, thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. And we take a pause in that moment. Instead of going back to the old behavior and reacting in that moment, we pause in that moment. This is a very powerful tool in changing the past, changing that generational, energetic, subconscious behavior, is to acknowledge and pause. So then we make a choice in that moment of pause. We ask ourselves, do we want to change what we've done in the past, what we normally do, the repetitive behavior? And it even goes for the person that we're in conflict with. Do we want to empower or charge them up and keep that going back and forth? Or do you want to change that? Do you want to calm that charge down? Do we want to switch the charge off? Do we want to take the power or the energy out of the charge? And the way we take the power out of the charge is to breathe. Within that choice, we can breathe for just a moment. If you don't want to change and choose a different response, that's okay. You can still, at least know what you're doing in that moment. And you can respond how you want to, like we normally do. And that's okay. You give yourself grace in that moment. Or you can choose in that moment in how you respond. In this moment, you can take back your power. You can take back your power of choice. So when we aren't mindful of that subconscious behavior that is kind of coming up in that trigger, and we respond to that, or we react to that trigger and give that trigger energy, and we flip that light on and we start going back and forth, that's mindless reaction. That's losing control of the habit or the behavior that is in your now moment. We are giving control to that behavior, to that thought, to that emotion. We are giving our energy to that thought, that emotion, behavior. So when we choose to change in that moment, we aren't allowing the behavior to control us, but we can take back our power and choose to change in that moment. So the fourth thing, after we do that, when we take back our power, we first understand that we're a reflection of our reality. It's like, okay, I see what's going on here. I see the pattern. Then we pause and acknowledge this, that old subconscious behavior, and bring it to our conscious reality. So we're bringing it from our subconscious to our conscious, a conscious awareness. We're bringing it forward, and we're looking at it and we're acknowledging it. And then we breathe and choose, make a choice, a conscious choice. Then we take responsibility for our choice. This might be a hard one for a lot of us, especially our teenagers. We don't want to take responsibility for our choices. We want to blame somebody else. You made me do this. Why did you say that? You knew I would do this. That's responding to their expectation of who they expect us to be. We are feeding them and giving them that power over us. It's a power over situation where when we release the responsibility of our choices, of the choices we make, when we let go of the responsibility of the choices we make, what we're actually doing is giving them power over us. And it's a kind of a funny thing, right? Like, we don't want to, in those moments, we're like, we can't lose control of the situation. We have to make sure that they know, what we think. And, we have to get angry, and we have to, get frustrated in this moment and make sure that they know that we're not happy with this, whatever they're doing. But it's actually the opposite. That is not what's going on. We are not taking control of the situation. We are losing control. We're allowing ourselves to lose control in that situation. And in that moment, they have power over us. Isn't that interesting? We don't actually have the power, but they do. So sit on that for a second. What does that feel like? When we are wanting to create peace, love, and joy in our lives, do you think the power over control situation is going to give us the peace? It's actually blowing things apart. Everything's falling apart, and we've lost control, and we have given power to that pattern. Power to that pattern from the past that has been hanging on our shoulders, giving us those giant knots in our shoulders and our neck, and giving us headaches, giving us like monster stomach aches, giving us monster anxiety attacks. So these 4 things are super important, super easy, but super important. And all we have to do is be aware that in these moments, we're not taking back, we're not in control here. We're giving our power away, and the other person becomes a power over. It becomes a power over situation. There's no balance here. Peace, love, joy resides and exists in balance. So let's think about it that way. What are we doing to create balance in our lives? This beautiful thing about being mindful of the mirrors in our life is that when we learn to use these 4 tools every day in our relationships and in our thoughts, through our thoughts, our words, and our actions, the people around us reflect the same behavior. It's such a beautiful thing. Going back to the mirror. It's hard to accept in the moment of anger, frustration, rage, that that's even possible. that we can create balance in these moments of frustration and fear, how is balance going? How is balance going to be? How is balance going to come out of this situation? It just seems like all is lost in this moment. Like we as parents often feel like we have lost control of our kids. We don't know what to do for them. We've tried everything we can do and they still fight back. And we give everything to them. We love them so much, we do everything we can for them. We worry about them constantly. But in reality, those things do not serve them. Constantly worrying about them. Constantly nitpicking at every detail about what's going on in their life. It does not serve them. So when we start to practice these 4 tools, it takes a little bit of time, but we have to start within. This is the internal work first. If we want to create a different reality, we have to start inside. The best way to teach our children and empower them to find their peace, find self-love for them, find love for themselves, find self-love, to love themselves truly, to find their joy, is to change their expectations of you. The best way to teach our children and empower them to find their peace, find their self-love, find their joy, is to change their expectation of you. So I know that we as parents want to feel trusted and trust them and develop loving relationships with our kids. So if we want to do this, if we want to have trust and respect and love between us, we need to start practicing trusting ourselves that we can be peace for them, that we can be loving and accepting toward them. But we have to start with ourselves inside. What is it that feels so chaotic, so what is it inside of us that makes us feel like we can't fully accept ourselves? Those are really important questions to ask ourselves. Because if we can't accept who we are as an individual human being, how are we to teach that to our children? To accept themselves as an individual. If we're feeling chaos, feeling fearful, feeling anger, they feel it too. It's that energetic mirror. It's just in the air. You can feel it. They want to know if they can trust us. Trust us enough not to feel judged, not to feel like they can't be themselves. So as we learn to stop spending all our energy on fighting the battle to live up to the expectations of others, we can relax and be more of who we are as a unique and individual person who has gifts and talents that are waiting to be developed. We can't develop our gifts if we're fighting the battle to be like everyone else. And we have to think about that, everyone being like everyone else, not looking like everyone else. It's that invisible reflection. Think of it as an invisible reflection. It's not how we look on the outside. It's how we feel on the inside. We can't develop our gifts if we're fighting the battle to be like everyone else. So don't be like everyone else. Change. Change how you feel inside. If you don't like what you're seeing on the outside, change how you feel on the outside. Stop the fight. Stop the battle. Be kind to yourself. Don't judge yourself. Don't create expectations for yourself that you know that you created, expectations for yourself that you created that you know that you would not be able to uphold or keep. These outrageous expectations of yourself to be the perfect person that you think other people think you need to be. To make everyone on the outside think that you have everything all together, all put together, like you have all your ducks in a row. We all make mistakes. We aren't perfect, none of us. And we aren't perfect parents. So the best we can do is breathe for ourselves and take care of ourselves. And don't take on the burdens of others. And live our own experience. Create our own stories. And let our children create their own stories. And let's not take that away from them. Let's let them be their individual, unique selves. Let's not drain them of their energy with all the expectations to live up to something that is, there's so many expectations in the world right now that are heavy, weighing heavy on our kids. So let's be a soft landing place for them. They need us to be a soft place to land. There's so much pressure going on in the world. When they leave your home, they want to know if they can come back to relax and be themselves and not be judged for that. So I'm going to just end here with a breathing meditation. So when you're in those moments of frustration and anger and chaos, you can remember just to take a moment. And if you have to step away to do this meditation, then do it. Maybe you need to take a moment and say, I appreciate you coming to me about this. I need to take a moment to think about it. I've had a stressful day and I really want to talk to you about this, but I need to calm down. And I promise you, whether it's like 10 minutes from now, 30 minutes from now, or tomorrow, come back to the conversation when you're not feeling frustrated, chaotic, feeling like there's chaos going on and stress. I promise you that if you stop what you're doing in the moment and feel into your body where you're at, and if you're able to support and respond in a loving way, And if you need to take those few minutes to find that peaceful place that you need to define for yourself so that you can respond from that peaceful place, then do it. It is the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for your loved one. So go ahead and just close your eyes for a moment. And just breathe in that message of light and love, a message of courage. Breathe it in. Breathe in the message of courage that you can remember through this breath, that you can find that place of peace inside and end the negative patterns and the negative past behaviors by just coming to your heart and remembering who you are. Breathe into that heart space. Imagine it's surrounded with pink light. Breathing into that pink light. And allowing the stress to just roll off your shoulders as you exhale. Just breathe. Breathe in through your nose, out through your nose. Come into your heart and remind yourself, I am peace. I am love. I am joy. And let that just radiate throughout your whole body, your whole being. And let that pink light grow around you and embrace you and encircle you with love and acceptance for yourself. I accept myself in this place. And give yourself grace, because maybe there was something that you regret saying or something that you regret doing throughout the day. And just say to yourself, it's okay. It's okay that I make mistakes. It's okay that I'm not perfect. And remind yourself to give yourself grace in this moment. And strengthen that core energy inside yourself with this breath of life, pulling it in and relaxing. And that's really all it takes. It just takes a few moments. And then you're able to think clearly. Find your calm, then think clearly. If you find yourself confused and you don't know what to say, you don't know what to do, find your calm, then think clearly. And I promise you that those old patterns will be cut off. You can cut them off right here and right now. You can empower yourself to take back your power. Take back what belongs to you. Take back what belongs to you, which is that truthful center, that centeredness space that you just experienced. And I promise you that when you go back into this challenging conversation, that person will have come down. You have come down. And you can meet each other face to face in this place of balance and respect and trust, and build on that. We don't want to give strength to what we don't want. We want to give strength to what we do want, so that we can build on this, not only now, but so that can strengthen our children, and that will affect many, many, many people that they come in contact with in their lifetime. So I thank you for watching this video with me. I appreciate your time. Today, I felt like this is a really important topic to discuss. And I want you to know that I care about you, I love you, and I appreciate this community that I have the opportunity to share my heart with you. And if you want to know more about living and being this way, applying it to your life in a more powerful and deeper way, I invite you to come to my women's retreat. I have 3 spots available. It's in a week and a half. It's a week from Sunday. I'm so excited. It's going to be at my home in Layton, and it's 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and I'll be juicing for you. We'll be hiking and meditating, and we'll be talking more about how to stop negative thought forms from controlling you and taking your power away from you, and taking back your power and stopping those negative thought forms so that we can stop those behaviors that have been in our lifetime and other lifetimes, generations. How we can actually heal those thought forms, heal those negative habits and behaviors, and start new ways of living and being and sharing and giving, so that we aren't giving our energy to what does not serve us, and we can give our energy to growing our spiritual gifts and learning new things about ourselves. So I'm excited to share a deeper understanding of this teaching that I just shared today at my retreat. We'll be spending time in nature, nurturing yourself in nature, and return to balance. That is the topic or the theme of the retreat. So I'm excited to be sharing that with the 4 ladies that are coming to my home on May 23rd. If you're interested, I will. You can find the link to the event in the comments below. And thank you again for joining me. I love you all. Until next week.